I had made some previous videos regarding what I believe to be Flint, Michigan being tied to Detroit, Michigan. And I'm going to show this video footage from MSNBC in regards to Kwame Brown, who was the disgraced and convicted mayor of Detroit. He got convicted for basically corruption, fraud, etc. But he supposedly has sent a letter out, and I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to come back with a bit more.
Let me follow up, Tony. I'm going to ask this carefully, but we're hearing about the imprisoned former Detroit mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, making some comments, weighing in on this today. What do we know?
Right, Kwame Kilpatrick, former mayor of Detroit, he's serving a 28-year sentence for racketeering and for bribe-taking, so he's an admitted liar. But apparently he wrote a letter from prison accusing Governor Snyder of covering up this water crisis, saying there was knowledge of it going all the way back to 2004, and saying the governor has been deliberately, viciously untruthful. No, it's very unclear whether there's any substance to that allegation. 2004 is very early. You recall residents didn't begin complaining about the water until April of 2014. So vast discrepancy there, but interesting commentary that we'll certainly follow up on, Kate.
So apparently something was going on. Now, it might not have had anything to do with the quality of the water, but I'm thinking that it probably had something to do with the pricing of the water, since Flint is paying some of the highest prices for water in the country. So that's just one part of it. Now I'm going to pause this and then bring up the second portion of the video I'd like you guys to review. Okay. Again, I had said that Flint and Detroit were linked, and this portion is going to show the linkage further as far as the emergency managers were concerned.
Less than 70 miles away from the water crisis in Flint that we've been talking about, Detroit schools also fighting through a difficult time. 2 schools are closed in the state's biggest school district today due to teacher sickouts again. MSNBC senior editor of digital and video content, Cal Perry, has been following the campaign both for Flint and for Detroit, where they are singling out now, as I understand it, one of the emergency managers, right?
Yeah,
he's taking some heat.
Absolutely. Darnell Earley. Now, he was the emergency manager in Flint from October of 2013, and he did that job for 16 months. No one is really saying he's responsible for the water crisis.
But that was during his time.
But he was there. He was overseeing it at that time.
Now, I'm saying that he's responsible for the water crisis. The previous emergency manager, Kurtz, was the one who generated the budget which led to this, but it was Early who was the one who actually implemented it. So I'm saying that he is at least partially responsible for this tragedy, if not almost totally responsible for it, because he didn't review any of the information, policies, and procedures that went with the implementation of switching over from the Detroit water system to the Flint water being put in use.
He was done with Flint, he takes over the Detroit Public Schools. So now you have both of these campaigns kind of merging in social media. We've got a tweet from Michael Moore, which we'll show you now, and he was one of the first people to say, listen, this is the same guy. This is the guy who ran Flint, and he's now running the public schools. We've heard recently also from the ACLU, some of the folks from the ACLU out on the ground in Detroit raising this issue, talking about bad management. This is just bad public management. It's calling into question this whole emergency management system that the state is under.
And so I know that there was talk about the schools and how long they could continue to have these sickouts. Was there some kind of a ruling today about whether teachers can continue to call in sick?
It's a bit weird. So the school district went to court today, went in front of the judge and said, listen, these aren't sickouts, which is what the teachers are calling it. This is a strike. The teachers argued, well, we don't have a school board anymore. We have Darnell Earley. We have this emergency manager. So we've got no way to give our grievances, no channel to put our grievances through. The judge agreed, said we'll see you later in February. They wanted to think about it a bit more. They want more paperwork from both sides. So for right now, no change. We still have the sickouts, closed schools.
And we don't know if that continues tomorrow and through the week?
It will continue throughout the week. Today only 2 schools, but certainly with the conditions inside those schools, with the teachers union sort of standing its ground, I think it'll continue.
Yeah, they've been showing a lot of photos of the conditions inside those schools. Okay, Cal Perry watching all that for us. Thank you so much.
Now, I'll say it again. That motherfucker, Darnell Earley, has his fingerprints all over the Flint water crisis and now the Detroit school sick-out situation, because he, wherever he goes, takes a hatchet to all of the budgets and all of the spending plans everywhere. Now, if you hadn't seen my previous video on Mr. Early, the Detroit school system crisis is based solely on the fact that the Detroit school system floated a bond which was funded for $1.5 billion. It was at that point, when the school was running a surplus, that the governor came in and appointed an emergency manager. From that point forward, instead of running budget surpluses to the tune of approximately $400 million per year, the school system started running budget deficits, which to date total approximately $500 million. They've also suffered a tremendous reduction in the number of students attending the district because of the poor condition of the schools, the overcrowded classroom sizes, etc. So we got to lay this strictly at the foot of the governor, but specifically in the hands of Mr. Darnell Earley. His ass needs to be removed, plain and simple.